Welcome to the Plastic Adventures Podcast. I'm Doug, joined by Steve, and we like to talk about toys. A lot.
We're here to take you on a trip down memory lane, a fireside chat, if you will, about those little pieces of plastic that captured our hearts and imaginations.
So join us on this plastic adventure, and let's talk toys.
Welcome, everybody, to another Plastic Adventures podcast, emanating from Steve's Toy Room again this time.
That's right, another exciting episode.
Yes, and we are here with a special guest this time. We have friends.
I have to make my friends.
Yeah.
So this is my son, Lincoln.
Family. Does that count as friends?
It counts as friends.
It's the only people we talk to.
Lincoln is the one who did our art that sort of rotates on the videos. Very, very cool. So now we know there's three of us here. That's at least three moms that will be listening to today's podcast.
That's right. We expect our view numbers to jump by 1.
3 views. 3 viewers. All right.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so...
One of those would be me, because
you're going to want to hear
I'll start watching.
That's good. We need more subscribers. Okay,
I didn't
so...
say anything about that.
Today's episode...
You're not good enough for your kid to subscribe to. Not even a Mercy subscription.
Damn, I feel bad now.
It's all right.
Dang.
So,
I was happy.
Let's get rocking and rolling with some quick news.
Yeah. Okay, so for me, the news I heard, I'm not on a lot of social media out there, but the one social media platform I do follow, I saw some chatter on there about Legacy. The Legacy line is coming out after the War for Cybertron line is done with, once Blaster is put on shelves and run its course, and we'll start to see Legacy.
Yeah,
that'll be the new.
Be about February, March.
Yep, that'll be the new Transformer line, and so we saw a bunch of them released from Hasbro PulseCon, which were kind of cool. But then I saw some chatter and some news about Legacy Ratchet and Legacy Ironhide coming out, and separate from the Bumblebee movie Ratchet. So I'm assuming that the people that have these inside track, this inside knowledge, know that these Ironhide and Ratchet are coming, and I'm expecting them to be like really beautiful, like cartoon
G1,
movie G1, looking Transformers. And not that the Siege and Earthrise versions of them weren't good, because they were actually the best ones you can find of those characters up until this point. But I'm taking away masterpieces or any third parties. Because those ones are actually really good too. But I mean, I'm talking about official mass release ones.
Mainline official Hasbro product.
Intended for the
stores.
public.
Yes.
Exactly. Yep. So those ones were good, but I'm expecting these ones to be just outstanding.
Yeah, and that Voyager scale is a little tricky. The figures themselves at Voyager class would be really bulky if they did not combine with their trailers.
Yeah.
But at that price point, seeing these figures... and this news blew my mind, by the way. I had gotten that news about the Studio Series Ironhide and Ratchet back at PulseCon, and I'm like, oh, yes, Transformers 86, they're doing some more of them. And then they ended up just being, Bumblebee, which are great designs, but that's not what I'm in it for.
No.
But would it not be super rad if they had the back part of the van that broke open and became like the repair bay and the assault deck?
Or the assault deck,
toys?
Exactly, yes.
Let's hope that Hasbro doesn't roll it too far old school back and forget to put heads on the toys. Because that'd be pretty rough.
Oh, man. Can you imagine the third-party upgrade kits that would come out? Here's your head for your Legacy version Ironhide.
$30. Could you imagine the collective fandom shitting the bed when they heard that news? That would be rough.
It would be.
Really rough. Although it might be kind of cool if the upper torso could recess, like the head could come down inside the windshield.
To kind of give you that G1 feel a little bit.
You could retract the head and make it look like
you do it once, throw up in your mouth, and turn him back into cartoon Ironhide. Yeah.
But when you're hurting for Ironhide and Ratchet, that's not... Well, what was the release before the Siege and Earthrise? The best ones you can find were the Universe ones, right?
Yeah, and that had been some time. They had that weird, diaper crotch thing.
They did. And they had that weird backpack, like the top of the vehicle would fold under and back, and so it would give them this bulky back-looking thing. So when we saw the Siege and Earthrise lines, we're like, yes, these are beautiful. These are the best ones we can find. But I'm expecting these legacy ones to be even better.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, could be something really awesome to look forward to. It's just I can't fathom how they can continue knocking it out of the park after the last 3 years.
oh,
I've said
man.
it time and time again, but hey, I'm ready.
Oh,
Show me.
I'm
Yeah.
more than ready. The Siege, Earthrise, Kingdom lines have been nothing but stupendous, spectacular, wonderful. When you're looking at Transformers, and especially as a child of the '80s, to see finally them to release the figures as they looked as close as they could get to the cartoon versions of them. It's just a dream come true for a Transformer fan. So
Oh yeah, most definitely.
that's the only news I had. How about you?
Well, I promised that this would knock your socks off. It might not, but I just read this just before we got together to do this thing. So, you know how O-Ring has kicked Walmart's G.I. Joe retro line to the curb?
Yeah.
O-Ring on Hasbro Pulse.
Yep.
4-inch Walmart retro line is on hold. Well,
And an O-Ring is on its way in.
I don't know to Walmart. We'll see. I bet it will be. Anyways, what I just read today is that Walmart will be doing a retro line in 6-inch scale.
What?
Mm-hmm. The first two SKUs.
G.I. Joe?
Yeah, 6-inch scale.
Are we talking 6-inch O-Ring?
No.
Aw.
That would have
Well,
been bad.
Yeah.
That would have been so cool.
I'm not saying, I mean, not no. I mean, like, I don't know yet. They are, so the SKU numbers, the DCPI numbers, have popped up in the system for Retro 6-inch Joe, and they are using old code names. You know how they show up as, like, Blowfly.
Right.
Whatever the other one's going to be, Monarch Butterfly. The code names that they are using for these before they reveal them are the code names that they used for Lady J and the Baroness.
Oh, really?
So, I am anticipating this line being repaints of the classified line, probably with a similar decos to the toys. But if you think about it, that tooling is out there. It's active. It's a great economical way for Hasbro to get more mileage out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And, they could card it retro, which it just doesn't sit right with me anyways. But, I'm buying a classic color Duke when that comes out and gets to the shelf.
Well, and it would also be a good opportunity for us to get
Baroness.
I was going to say a Baroness, a good price point Baroness that might be more widely sold than the one where she was only available with the bike.
Yeah, I think you get a better chance of spotting the actual boogeyman than seeing a Baroness with that motorcycle in Target. It's just retarded.
I've pretty much given up hope of finding one of those in the wild. I'm just going to have to one of these days save up money or something if I want that Baroness. I don't even want the bike. I don't even care about the bike.
No, the pricing's coming down. I've seen them for about $40 on eBay.
Oh, okay.
So it's about shelf price because another wave had come and gone. Kind of like what happened with the Beachhead and the Cobra Island Trooper overcorrection. So Target puts them back up for pre-order, and they're sold out in seconds.
Mm-hmm.
All the jackweed scalpers bought those up,
Usually.
anticipating they were going to sell you a Beachhead again for $50. But
Yeah.
when there must have been 5,000-10,000 more units out in the market. That's going to drive the scalping price down, which is a great thing.
That's better for us, which is where we want to be as a toy collecting community.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Stop preying on each other, you scalpers.
Yeah. We always say that's a topic for a future episode, and we never get there because that one's going to be hate fueled, and it's just going to be.
I feel like that's something that we've got to write notes on specifically and have notepads in front of us and be like, okay, so these are these very specific points that we want to hit.
Yep. Scalpers. Ugh.
Well, other than I hate you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
that's number one.
The 10 things I hate about you.
This ain't the scalper show. That's
not yet.
This
We're not
is the
there yet.
positive show. So
we are not there yet.
that was my little piece of news. I don't know when they're coming, but if they're in the system, it must mean that we're like 3 to 4 months out, maybe quarter 2 release or something, 2022. Interested to see it. Kind of sucks. It has to be called the retro line, but I guess I kind of anticipate it being like Black Series Star Wars on retro-looking cards.
That's what I'm picturing. I'm picturing so you know how we had the retro GI Joe for the 3-inch ones, right? That looked like they were released on original card art, but they were modern figures.
Yeah.
I'm expecting these ones to be larger versions of that.
Yeah, and I would appreciate some simplified decos too. It don't knock our socks off with painting the buckles on the outfits. Just give us some classic looking colors.
Yep.
I'll buy another Duke because I love Hasbro. I love GI Joe, and that's my favorite character.
Yeah. Give us some good accessories. Give us some, give us a cartoon accurate laser rifle for 6-inch. That would be kind of cool.
Dang, that'd be a great pack-in.
Give Duke a maybe an American flag and a jetpack.
God damn it! You want another harness that's not the bandolier, and you want that screaming
Give him the O face that you're just so in love over.
Trying to pass a kidney stone action figure. Great, yeah. That's what they would do though.
They would.
Yeah, the one that I want them to get right. We can't reuse this cool-looking Duke Classified head, but we dug into our Marvel Legends and found this one that...
Oh, they just...
Look at that.
They know what buttons
It's
to
his
push.
annual prostate exam. Yo, Jared! They'd even make him cross-eyed. Way to go, Hasbro.
Way to go.
It's ruined!
Yeah, but you'd buy it because it's Duke.
Probably.
You would.
I'd spend money on some custom 6-inch head, bring it in, paint
Yep.
it, and put it on there.
Yep.
Even though I got the freaking Super 7 animated Duke coming when they make those.
I can't
am
wait
buying
to
another
see
one.
that. I didn't jump on it with the other 3, but I really can't wait to see what they look like up close. I can't wait to see yours.
Price is really ugly on those.
Well, that's
Good
why
figures,
I didn't
though.
jump on it.
They usually are these days.
Oh, but I did see the Super 7 Next Wave of Joe. Duke's looking pretty cool.
the little ones?
The 5 POA.
Yeah.
Coming pretty soon. I got a peek at it about a week ago. They released some pictures. So
How did they get that one right and Hasbro didn't get theirs right? How did that happen?
Walmart was asking for something. The toy aisles were in rough shape because of the shipping crisis. So I'm sure it was just born out of some path of least resistance. Anyhow, I thought that was pretty neat.
I can't wait for those.
I love the idea of still having Joe product on the shelves, keeping that alive. Snake Eyes obviously did not give it a boost like they were hoping, but if we can just keep that flame burning, then there'll still be Joe on the shelves, and that's what's important.
That's what is important, exactly. All right, so how about you? Have you heard any news? I'm not sure if you keep up with toy news or not. I don't know.
I've got plenty of just generic world news. Not much in the way of toys, though.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's okay, because we're going to start a new segment here in just a minute.
Yeah.
I don't know what to call it. Fresh catch.
Maybe.
Sounds fishy to me.
Dad
jokes. I'm here.
Dad jokes all week. Let's see. I don't know. We'll come up with a future name, but for right now, the point of the new segment is kind of talking about our latest acquisitions, like something that we recently picked up that either is new for everybody or is new to us, new to our collection, and just kind of say, hey, this is what I got, and this is my initial thought of it, so this is what I'm thinking of it. So I thought that would be kind of fun because we talk toys, so why not talk about a toy or two when we're doing this?
Exactly,
right?
Yep.
So I thought that'd be kind of cool. And do you want me to kick it off? I can kick it off.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was going to talk about some of my latest acquisition. I got Huffer and I got Warpath for the Kingdom line, and I really like them. I thought they were kind of cool, but then Steve surprised me today with hey, I got something for you at Target, and he brings me a classified Bats and a classified Alley Viper. So I think those will be the ones that I'll highlight for my wow, I just added these to my collection. So I know a lot of people are still waiting for some of theirs to be shipped to them for whatever shipping snafus that Hasbro has had with some of their figures lately.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a course correction. But this is the initial short amount that's probably hitting retail shelves, and then in another month or so it'll get better.
Yeah. But, it was a holy crap moment because I was not expecting you to be able to find them.
I was not expecting me to find them either, but Persistence and luck. That's what it is.
But I have to say, so my initial reactions of these are pretty much the same reactions I had when PulseCon announced that they were going to be releasing these into the wild, and the bat could not be any more beautiful. I think the accessories that he comes with, the battle damage that he comes with, is just absolutely phenomenal, and it is faithful to the original smaller figure. I mean, he just looks wonderful. By far, I think, looking at this one, out of the, I don't know how many I have now, 20 or so classified figures, I think he's got to be my favorite right now. I think he's the baby. He's sexy. I like him.
I think it's one of the absolute best updates.
Yeah.
I am going to say I loved the Lady J from that series.
Lady
that is
J
a
was
great
pretty
figure.
cool, and I did like the Flint.
It's cool too,
when
yeah.
I get them, I'm not one of the ones who keep them in the packages. I store them in the packages because I don't have anywhere else to put them. But I like to open the packages, take them out, play with them, see what they feel like. You know, are they sturdy? Are they not sturdy? Are they like NECAs? Do they break right out of the package? You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Call them out.
yeah. Well,
Steve,
we
why
do
don't you
that a
take
lot.
your Ultimate Casey out of the package? NECA! Damn, NECA!
Oh no!
Sorry.
Please don't kill us, YouTube. That was not what you think he said. But the Alley Viper is also a very beautiful and a sexy looking action figure. Got some great accessories. Very faithful again to the original action figure. Not a lot. I don't know if a lot of people are a fan of the orange and the blue.
Nope, 0%.
I'm digging it. I like it. So.
I like it.
I think it's pretty cool.
Well, the design's out of this world. The sculpting and the look of the character, the urban combat. But
Yeah.
in what urban environment do you wear purple and blue, like Mardi Gras?
San Francisco, man.
Great. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Steve's going to get us in trouble, yeah.
But so yeah, I just have to say, my initial thoughts, I haven't broken them out of the package because they are that brand new to me. And I just have to say thank you to my plastic crack dealer, Steve, who is always there for me, and making sure that I am well stocked with things I don't need.
So sometimes you just got to take the opportunity when it arises. So
Yeah.
those are both great figures. I think I've said it before. I would have loved Alley Viper if they did like more of a Firefly type camo or a gray and blue and white like urban. But
Well, there were
it's a very sweet figure. It is rad, and if you love Joe and you're collecting the line, get that figure and get the bat. It's just off the hook.
you have to, like, the bat has to be one that you're going. If you're any kind of G.I. Joe fan and you're thinking about getting into the classified line, I don't know why you wouldn't be yet, but if you haven't, get a bat. It's well worth it. Just looking at him, he's so beautiful, so beautiful. I can't wait to get him out of the box, do a comparison with the original, and just take a lot of pictures of him. Just can't wait. But yeah, so that's it. Those are I've got plenty to choose from, but those are the two that I chose to highlight for today. That's what I've got. Let's go to Lincoln and see what he's got.
He brought something super cool.
He did.
It's the Diamond Select series, right?
Yep.
For the Tron figures. I have Tron and I have Flynn, and the one that I just got was Sark, which is those are all three
For that particular line.
for this particular line. They've only ever
Was this the Walgreens release on these? Were they exclusive?
I
to
think these were the
Walgreens?
Walgreens exclusive Diamond Selects.
Looks
yeah
great.
they look just like they do in the movies. They, toy joints aside, they look right off the screen. All the details are correct, all the little lines, all the fabric.
Does his face look like David
proportions-
Warner's face? That's what I want to
He
see.
looks just like him.
Oh my gosh, yeah. He
Yeah.
looks really... Wow.
The sculpt on this is
I
great.
feel like that toy's going to steal my idea and build an empire off
Look
of it
at that.
or something.
It looks like David Warner.
Yeah.
I really like that they don't mess with the proportions at all. With figures, they tend to bulk them up a bit. If they're a hero or a villain, they tend to add a lot of muscle,
Right.
just to make them look more imposing. And they really didn't. They were just people.
Yep.
And I like that the figures just look like people.
The articulation interrupts Zero. With
Yeah,
the look of the
it
figure.
doesn't
They did
distort
such a
the figure
good
at
job,
all.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a good job of hiding it because the
Oh, he's got the disc on his back too.
Yeah.
yeah, and it comes
And
off.
it comes off, so you can.
I'll lose it.
Oh man, that's all right. But the like you said, the joints are very well hidden in the costume of the figure. So the elbow joints look like
They
they're
move
Yeah, they
perfectly.
move, but they're where the glove ends. So it's very.
You could set them
very
up
good
on your
figure.
shelf, posed, and they'll still look like a normal human being.
Yep.
Yeah. So sometimes at that bicep articulation, it really gets to looking not very awesome, especially if it's double jointed and they don't do it right. But
Yep.
that's a sweet looking figure. I mean, they're made for the shelf, and that is every bit as good as any NECA movie, McFarlane movie,
Yeah.
Maniacs line. I mean, it's terrific.
Yeah, I remember when we started getting these, and I got this for him. He brought to my attention that there was actually a vintage style release of these 7-inch figures that
Were they
were
all done as the
translucent plastic.
Oh no!
Yeah, I know, they look
Yes!
awesome.
Translucent, your only weakness.
I know, but can you? But I went and found them online, and I'm like, holy crap, those things are beautiful.
It's all
7-inch translucent plastic that looks exactly like the ones when they were smaller. Oh my goodness!
Sartron and Flynn, right as they should be.
Yeah, that's how you get mileage out of those molds.
Yeah,
Good for
but
them.
that's a good one. The only thing that I have to complain about for Tron lines is that
They never complete them.
they never complete them. Yeah,
There's no RAM.
There's
There's
no
no
RAM.
Loria. There's no Dumont.
Yeah, which I think, man, why stop at the 3? Why can't
Right?
you give me RAM? At least give me RAM. Come on. But you know,
I
they
feel like
never
there was
do.
more in Tron Legacy, but it was such a short-lived, and even back then, scalpers got all of them off the shelf
Yeah,
before
I
anybody
remember
could get
that.
them, so they're all gone.
So
Yeah.
we had some anniversary releases of the 3 3/4 inch original figures.
from NECA.
Yeah, I'm
Mm-hmm.
wondering who is the license holder for it and why, with Super 7 doing all these retros and Marvel now getting on board with that,
Yeah.
why are we not going to see Tron? Like, what's the holdup?
Well, we
Who's-
did. Well, so they did come released exactly as they were back then. NECA
Yeah,
released
that
them
was
packages.
like in, what, 2003 or
Yeah,
something
it was
like that?
it was
It's
a while
time
ago. We would definitely. I think a lot of people. There's so many Tron fans out there. We would. I think we're due for a Tron vintage because those ones were not widely released.
No.
You didn't see them on shelves. You had to order them, like I said, scalpers got a hold of them, and now they're just crazy price for the aftermarket.
I mean, they're the loose re-release figures are darn near as much as the loose original ones.
I know. So I think we are due for a mass release, especially when we're coming up on an anniversary of it. So I think, what is it? 2002, right? Because it was released in '82. So we're coming
Yeah.
up on an
Oh
anniversary.
yeah, 2022. Maybe we'll see some cool.
I'm
Tron
hoping.
stuff.
There better be, and it
I'm
better be the
hoping.
full set.
Yeah.
I really want a Ram figure.
Yeah, man, I did find somebody online who was making custom translucent Tron figures.
Of
And
the
they
original
did-
scale.
on the original scale,
Interesting.
and they got them painted right and everything, and he had a RAM and he had, these things. So
you get them carded, you're probably talking what, $60?
easily,
Yeah.
easily.
There's a lot of work that goes into it. You want someone to make it back, but I guess
Yep.
if you want it bad enough, which I've been there,
Yep.
and I do get there. Yeah.
So, but good figure to highlight. I really like him. Good one,
Yeah.
Jeff. Or good one, Lincoln.
All right. So what did I get recently? I had always wanted some Inhumanoids figures when I was a kid, even though they got the funky little heads and the bodies don't match.
What are you talking about? Those are cool.
Their heads are like pea size, but I feel like it's because they're in robot suits. So when you see the hands of the suits, I don't necessarily think that that's the hands and the feet of the actual like driver in that
Right.
mechanized suit. So
It's like a bio-organic mecha.
Yeah.
I went down the rabbit hole. Augur was my favorite on that limited 13-episode cartoon, so I bought one. And then I saw just a super, super smoking deal, so I got Herc Armstrong coming pretty soon. He's coming
Oh,
soon.
it's Patrick Warburton.
So that's pretty cool. I'm happy to have him. I also got, so like I'm a Hulkamaniac from back in the day, right? Hulk Hogan. I bleed red and yellow, and then also white and black when it necessitates.
NWO.
Brother. And he finally kind of came back into the fold after some acts of contrition. After all the controversy that happened on some old comments, and I believe people change. That's the most endearing human quality is our ability to adapt and change and hope. Aside from that, Mattel kind of picked back up. Hogan was left abruptly at Mattel with a couple of like classic looking Hulk Hogans, and then you had the WrestleMania, what was it, WrestleMania 9 Hogan where he fought against Yokozuna, and then nothing, a drought.
Right.
Well, my favorite Hulk Hogan era is what I like to call the Old Man Hogan instead of Old Man Logan. It was about 2002 when he came back to the WWF, and he started off as Hollywood, and then he went red and yellow with the tie-dye. And the reason that's the best era is because the guy was so over that he didn't need to win every time, every match. You didn't care.
Nope.
And then he's super charismatic, and people were happy to have him back as the fans. And finally, having come back into the fold, we get a great Old Man Hogan figure, decked out with a pretty sweet-looking plastic red and yellow boas. He's got interchangeable hands, sunglasses, a knee brace. I mean, it's
beautiful.
Perfect. Like my favorite era of Hogan, I finally get that Hogan. Super happy to have it. I believe it's a Ringside Collectibles exclusive at the moment, so I pre-ordered it some time ago. I just got it. Aside from a wonky-looking torso that doesn't belong, it's just a fantastic figure, and I'm super happy to have it. But number one, best pickup recently was not something I bought for myself. It was something that was underneath my Christmas tree this year. And I have mentioned it before on the show because I was really looking forward to trying to find a Ertl Fall Guy truck in 18th scale, because I have a perfect condition, Lee Majors, Colt Seavers, Ertl figure, and I wanted a truck to put him in. And they're impossible to find. Like, they're beat to crap, and it's $100. But Greenlight does a really terrific 18th scale Fall Guy truck. And of all the places that came from, my boss, who I know you're listening out there, actually, he must have heard it on the show, I don't know. But my boss is the one that gave me that toy. So when I open it up in the morning, I'm like, you gotta be fudging joking me. And also, you're really the only one that loves me. My family doesn't love me. None of them got me a Fall Guy truck. Actually, it's a good Christmas, just kidding. But no, it's terrific.
He squeaked in for Boss of the Year at the last minute right there.
So, Greenlight is a die-cast company. They specifically do cars, but then they do licensed stuff too. And we saw some of that up at the Spokane Toy Show, and that's out of sight. I mean, even the small-scale cars, they're so well detailed. And this toy is just amazing. I want to pop it open and put my Lee Majors action figure in there, but I don't want to open it.
I know. I have that same problem. Open, not open. Open, not open.
It's just absolutely gorgeous. So I got a big shout out to my boss for listening.
Yeah. And
picking that up for me. I got him kind of a neat 49ers thing for the man cave, but it was nowhere
near as
not
cool as
even
this.
Remotely cool.
I have to
as
tell
that Fall Guy truck.
I have to tell you, looking at it, so like the chrome piping that's on it, it looks like someone took like a miniaturizing ray and shot a truck and then just shot it down to this size because it's so perfect.
The detail level's insane.
Yeah,
it's just nuts.
The chrome, like I said, the chrome is beautiful. And the brown and the tan is so classic with the eagle logo on the hood of the car. Every kid wanted to be a fall guy in the early 80s. I mean,
well, and I came to really appreciate that show because when I was younger, everybody likes Luke Skywalker. Everybody was like Hulk Hogan and Mr. T and these young characters that are full of life and vitality, Arnold. And what I appreciate most about Fall Guy is he's this beat-up old stuntman, and he's always in the hot tub soaking because of some ass-kicking that he just took because he's too old for this shit.
You feel a little bit more connected to him than you did when you were a kid.
Every time I get up to get the remote because it was misplaced, I really feel like I'm getting too old for this shit when I sit on the couch. So I know just exactly what he's feeling, having being beat up by some thug or whatever it was on the show. He played a skip tracer. But me having to go like all the way to the kitchen for my snack, I really feel like it owes me something at that point. So, anyways, that was my big get, and I was super excited. I got some neat stuff coming next week that we'll highlight. But
yeah, I've got something coming that I'm pretty excited about, and I'll highlight on the next show. Which I think you might think is pretty cool, or I don't know. I think you might think it's pretty cool.
Okay,
so
surprise me.
I will. I'll surprise you. But yeah, I think this new segment's good. I like talking about some things we get. We're toy collectors. We like talking about toys, so I don't see why we shouldn't be talking about toys.
Yeah.
The toys,
And,
we
The
have
toys that we
specifically.
have specifically.
Keep an eyeball out, all 2 or 3 of you out there listening. We're looking at maybe doing some little, just quick videos or a quick little blog on some interesting things like this that we have that we don't normally get to talk about or share because we're trying to keep this thing down to an hour when we do it. It's really tough.
It is. You have no idea how tough it is, guys, out there listening, Mom, to keep this show at an hour because we can just talk and talk and talk and just.
And then we'll go on
We can-
tangents because
we can
we'll think
fill
of something
time.
else.
Yep.
Yeah, tangents.
All right. So, subject time.
Subject time. We're finally
What is
there.
the general discussion going to be this week? We came up with 80s toy movies.
Yep. Or TV shows.
I like the movie thing better. Like what made the cut and made theatrical release from 80s toys.
Okay. All right. I'll try to stick to movies.
Okay, so
Okay.
I did compile a little list. And I did this
Steve,
from
you
memory.
came prepared. What the heck? I'm doing
I
this
did.
from memory.
So I'll
I
just
brought a cell phone. I could just Google.
and, I guess within parameters of what we're doing here, meant for theatrical release. So
Okay.
we've seen like Voltron, Mask, Thundercats, Silverhawks. You go into the video store when you're a kid in 1986, and there's Mask the movie,
Yeah.
Voltron the movie 2, and really all that was just a hashing of 5 or 6 episodes
Smashed together.
Yeah.
and sending it out. So that's I want to disqualify those because even though they were called the movie, they were not meant for theatrical release. What I wanted to discuss was properties that got so hot that Hollywood thought that there was a crap ton of money to be made off of a theatrical release of a movie
I
based
hear
on
you.
a toy.
I hear you.
Not necessarily a movie that inspired toys. So movies like RoboCop,
Well, that was one
which
we were talking
super
about. earlier.
sweet, that got toys. How the hell do you do a children's toy off of that
That's
R-rated movie?
exactly what we were
Why
talking
did we
about
get,
just
why
earlier.
did we get
about that before
RoboCop and not Predator?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did we not get toys on Predator?
No, it's later.
No, it's later. Yeah, like in the Aliens
Yeah,
line.
we got Aliens and Predator far after the movies. So
Yeah,
this
okay.
was what I'd like to talk about are the ones that they thought it was big enough. These toys were so big that there was just a cash cow waiting to happen in the theaters.
All right,
So-
I get where you're going with this. I can see what we're talking
I
about.
compiled a list, and there's 1 or 2 on here that I'll kind of explain why I put them on the list.
I can start it off, and I'm not going to steal a lot of your thunder because I'm pretty sure I know which ones you're thinking of, but I know one specifically that I really want if I'm going to name one.
Well,
Sure.
I'm seeing one on that list that Steve
G.I.
has,
Joe.
and
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was talking about. Made for theatrical release.
Yes.
And the only reason it didn't get into the theaters was because of what happened with Transformers the movie.
Which was another
Underperforming.
one, but I wasn't going to steal your thunder and
No,
other
that's
things like
fine.
that.
It's
but
a very short list because you think every 80s property got a movie.
no,
And I'm sorry, Care Bears fans and Rainbow Bright. I know that you guys got movies out there. Rainbow Bright and the Star Stealer, I liked it when I was a kid, but I'm only talking about cool boy toys, not your stupid girl toys.
oh man, we lost Mom.
How could
We
you
lost
say
our only
something like
female
that?
viewer. All right, no, okay,
We're over. Yeah. So go, G.I.
so
Joe. the movie.
G.I. Joe. So G.I. Joe the movie. So of course at that time, what year was G.I. Joe released? It was 87, right? Same as
That's
Transformers.
the movie, 87. Yeah.
Yeah. So G.I. Joe had been going strong now for 5 years at that time. We had just got a really good release of action figures for the 87 line, which were showcased in the G.I. Joe movie. Well, I should say some of them were showcased in the G.I. Joe movie. We get some really good meme-tastic scenes from this movie. Speaking of Chuckles ripping off a missile and football tossing it. I don't get it.
So some of it was too 80s.
Some of it was too 80s, but still, when you're talking about toys that are so popular that they transcend the little kid playing with a toy in a sandbox, and make it onto the silver screen, where we've caught Hollywood's attention that they think it's going to be a money-making, ploy or scheme or whatever you want to call it.
Con.
Well, it did its job.
Yeah.
I mean, it got little kids wanting to go see G.I. Joe on the big screen. I wanted to see it on the big screen. So I think when we're talking about movies specifically, that one jumped right to the front of my brain, followed by, of course, the other one that came out in 1987. So,
well, I think that there was a big course correction. G.I. Joe was actually supposed to go before Transformers, and there was some sort of a delay in the production of the movie. Transformers comes out, and it only makes like $8 or $9 million in its theatrical run, which barely covers the cost of advertising and making the movie, or maybe they're underwater on that.
Yeah.
Also, Optimus Prime being killed off in the movie was a major miscalculation, and they were going to have Duke die in G.I. Joe the movie. Everybody knows that story.
Yeah.
Funniest
And
afterthought
just,
dub ever.
Yeah.
The guy just slipped into a coma like a pair of pants, like he'd done it before.
And it sure is good. Duke woke from his coma.
Yeah.
Credits. Glad they put that in there.
But, I mean, you got to applaud them for wanting to be a little bit bold and show that there are consequences for this. And the big thing people bag on with G.I. Joe the movie is it's too sci-fi. Dude, I'm sorry, G.I. Joe the cartoon was very sci-fi.
It was very sci-fi.
Even more ridiculous in many episodes than G.I. Joe the movie.
It was actually one of the better storylines that came out of the Sunbow era of G.I. Joe. I mean, you introduced us to a whole new faction of bad guys that G.I. Joe could fight, the Cobra Law, right? Which
Perhaps
were
tragically named.
Well, yes, but either way, we got some cool characters from that. Nemesis Enforcer was a great character. I liked him. I thought he was cool as hell. Non-talking, bigger than life, being able to fly, rip things open with his elbows.
Beating other Joes to a pulp.
Took on Sergeant Slaughter. I mean, at the time when you're a Joe, you're taking on Sergeant Slaughter. That's big news right there. Okay,
yeah, we just watched him wreck all those bats in season 2.
I know.
Serpentor Arise.
Yeah. So when we got a guy who can take on, well, everybody takes out Worf.
Yeah.
But still, we got some good ones. But the one about that one that always kind of bugged me was, why didn't we ever get Pythona? Like, we got
the Royal Guard.
Yeah, we got the Royal Guard. We got Nemesis Enforcer. We got Globulus. Pythona was like one of the biggest characters in that movie. No action figure.
No. Well, we also didn't get a big lob, but I would rather have Pythona.
I would rather have Pythona than Big Lob. Big Lob! Oh gosh, stop it!
I wish that some sportscaster would announce everything I do at work. Hey, Steve, he's going to the screen right now to check open order reports. Uh-oh, somebody didn't take a deposit on that special order.
Here's Steve going to the John. We'll be right back after these messages.
No, we're going to narrate the whole thing.
He dunked hard. No, so honestly, like start to finish, I actually think that G.I. Joe was a reasonably good story for like an 80s movie or 80s toy line.
Yeah.
And I think it's actually more cohesive than Transformers the movie.
A little bit.
Because with G.I. Joe, start to finish, you have a plot that unfolds in the acts as it should. And I love Transformers the movie.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like that. I will watch that movie today.
I just watched it the other day.
Every freaking time they do it on Blu-ray, remastered.
Yeah.
4K, 20K. I'm gonna keep buying this until it's
download it into your brain.
Until it's so crisp, the lines look like they were spray painted. But I honestly do think that from top to bottom, it's a way more solid story than Transformers, because it's just in sequence. The BET, these creepy new villains that need it so that they can hatch all their mutant spore pods that are gonna mutate the population. And you go start to finish getting that done. You do introduce new Joes.
You do.
So some of the other ones kind of fall by the wayside. Really, the only one that got mistreated was Snake Eyes.
Yeah.
And it also had that animated beginning, which
Dude,
is
that beginning is
probably
phenomenal.
the best 3 minutes ever put to animation ever.
Yeah. You still have that beat in your head when you're leaving the theater.
You do.
Dun, dun, dun,
I have it on a playlist that I listen to on on my phone in the truck. So anyways, yeah. So you got G.I. Joe the movie, very solid. After seeing what Transformers did, though, perhaps maybe the wise decision was breaking it into the 5 parts and showing it on afternoon television. Mm-hmm. They didn't really advertise, though. They didn't lose the money on the advertising. So when you look at these Hasbro properties that are lumped in, maybe Transformers hurt so bad that G.I. Joe just got really stunted by it.
But as a kid, we really didn't care about things like box office numbers or how much money it made or anything like that. As a kid,
we didn't. No,
we did. That's what I'm saying. As a kid, I didn't care about that, and I just know that it was a good movie, and I liked
that. That was one of the things that reignited me into Joe. I had my first run with Joe, and G.I. Joe the movie came out, and man, I was right back into G.I. Joe as a kid. And it happened with Transformers the movie too. I had my initial in love with Transformers, and then went on to something else, Mask or whatever, and then Transformers the movie hits, and man, I'm just right back into it. So
I know. It's a great movie, and a perfect one to start off on. I think what we're talking about.
So let's do obscure, and we may move quickly through a few of these.
All right, what do you got?
GoBots Battle of the Rock Lords.
Was that a theatrical release?
Yes, it was.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Rock Lords. What says exciting more than, hey kids, let's watch this rock transform into a robot and back? Yeah, that was fun.
Let's
do it again.
Have you ever seen it?
No.
Okay. That's how good it is. You can watch it on YouTube. It's in full animation, which is full Hanna-Barbera style animation, meaning no shadows whatsoever.
And
bending metal arms. Which is what kills me about current CGI, seeing a Transformer walk and watching Optimus Prime's girl move like...
I hate that.
Move like, abs.
Yeah, why are you bending?
You have joints, actual metal joints, use them.
It actually had some name actors in there.
I do remember...
I want to say that it had, Telly Savalas playing, Magmord or whatever the bad rock's name was, and it had the guy from Breakfast at Tiffany's who was in that horrible Asian get-up, Mickey Rooney.
Did it have Mickey Rooney in it?
Mickey Rooney was the voice of this gold nugget character that was a rock. And then it had the voice cast of the GoBots in it.
Right.
Completely forgettable.
Did any of our big voice actors at the time play anything in the
Crossover?
GoBots?
Yeah.
Did Michael Bell do any of the GoBot stuff, or did
I'm sure he probably
Frank Welker?
Frank Welker did Scooter.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, that guy, he does everything.
Yeah, I love Frank
Scooter,
Welker.
right?
Scooter, yeah, he's up there on his show. Yeah.
I don't have Scooter.
I thought you had Scooter. Oh no, that red guy. That's not him.
That's Lightfoot. That's
Sorry.
the one female GoBot who's got the RC syndrome. Too many dicks on the dance floor around these parts. I actually would like to have Scooter, even though he's completely lame. Bumblebee would whip Scooter's ass so hard.
I had one not too long ago, and I'm actually kicking my butt for selling it. But
it's tough. I actually would really like... There's a few more GoBots to get. Scooter's one of them. And...
Crasher! Oh, her laugh!
Oh, so stupid. You know who she looks like? Mimi from the Drew Carey show.
Oh my gosh, that's so true.
Yep. Yeah, so you got nothing for GoBots Battle of the Rock Lords. I knew it was obscure, but that was theatrical.
How the hell did that make your list?
I got another one for you. Garbage Pail Kids, the movie.
Oh, okay. That was one I'm ashamed to say that I saw.
That one's rough. That's a tough one.
I saw that one.
I
never went back and saw it again, though. That's how bad it was.
It's not so much of a toy thing because they were trading stickers.
True.
But Garbage Pail Kids were a big part of the 80s.
They were.
And they were so hot that they thought that they could, Henson it up.
Yep.
And get these actually very well done costumes for the time.
Those puppets were damn near nightmarish, though.
They were.
They were so ugly.
But they looked like the garbage.
They were so ugly. Oh my gosh. That movie was just... It was bad.
The plot is so cockamamie.
It was bad. There's no other word for it. It was a bad movie.
Yeah. These two kids go into a magician's shop, Captain Mancini. I remember that. and they find like some magic garbage can portal to a Garbos or something where the Garbage Pail Kids come from, and chaos ensues and so forth and so on. And they were really toned down.
Yeah.
They were not like the toys, or not the toys,
stickers.
but the stickers where, you know, it was like super gross with a lot of snot or peeled off skin and all that stuff that they did.
Imagine. Oh.
But I mean, they did what
I'm glad they did.
They did what they
actually.
could, knowing that this was supposed to appeal to children. Aside from the very, very empty shell of what would be a plot of that movie, I do remember the girl getting punched in the stomach and barfing all over people at the end of the movie.
Yes.
And you had a guy, Greaser Greg. Oh, I'm not a stereotype. I'm an Italian gangster guy with a switchblade and a leather jacket and slick back hair.
Actually, the excessive fart jokes were just. Ugh.
Oh yeah, they farted a lot too.
They did,
which is normally very funny. But, actually, that Greaser Greg guy, he looked like he would walk down the street going, like on the way to a rumble.
Because of that Tobey Maguire flip.
The Sharks versus the Jets.
I'm assuming you never saw that.
Actually, I want to say I did at some point.
You saw Garbage Pail Kids movie?
I'm almost positive I saw it when I was a kid.
When the hell would you have seen that?
When I was a kid. Sometime, I want to say it was playing on TV.
Oh my
You know,
gosh.
that's a piece of your childhood you never get back.
I want to say I turned it on, and I don't think I made it more than 10 minutes, but I know I turned it on. I was flipping through cable TV, and it was on one of the channels. I was like, oh, that's a thing. It looks like 80s, and you know, as a kid, my dad still talked 80s stuff. I was like, oh, okay, sounds vaguely familiar, so I'll give it a try. And then 10 minutes in, I'm like, this is horrible.
This is garbage.
As
As the name implies.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad. I mean, well, never mind. That was a different tangent, right? I was thinking, why did this puppet type movie? Why did that get made? Why did we never get toys of like Labyrinth or the Dark Crystal?
Hello.
That would have been really,
right?
that would have been really cool.
Well, we were supposed to get toys from the Dark Crystal, which is what what's that company? Funko. I think was it Funko that they did. They actually were able to get some of the molds and release some of those. But yeah, Labyrinth would have been a great one.
Yeah,
for toys.
Not an '80s toy property, but I'm just thinking, like,
Yeah.
with how creative some of these movies were, it's a shame we didn't.
Well,
see
and
something.
it was really sad that when you think about it, because you look at the work that went into bringing Garbage Pail Kids to life, like the amount of puppeteering engineering that went into this, you're thinking, wow, we've got a hit on our hands.
Somebody thought that.
And then they show it up on the screen, and it's like, what is this crap?
You go into
the LSD wears off, and they look at what they made and just
producer's office, and there's just white powder all over the
Yeah,
table.
that's what happened. That's exactly what happened.
So yeah, Garbage Pail Kids, not so awesome. Keeping on this obscure sort of a thing. How about the Wizard?
The Wizard. Okay, I will have to say,
Based on Nintendo.
I do.
Not as much of a toy.
well,
but
I consider that a
Nintendo
toy.
was
I consider
out,
that a toy.
And then the Wizard.
Wizard was good.
California.
Fred Savage was, Fred Savagey in that movie. He played basically
Of course,
Arnold
yeah.
from Wonder Years, just
Yeah.
in The Wizard. But everybody's got to remember the scene. Everybody's got to remember the scene.
I
from
know
this
what
movie.
you're going to hit me
This
with here.
the Power Glove.
Oh God,
It's so bad.
You had that like
I-
jabroni kid that,
Well,
and it comes out in a case.
I know. Think about this. Like they bring it out, and it's like with all this reverence, the kids are like, and he brings it out, and this case opens, and it's like he slides his hand into it, and it's like, you're like, oh, this thing's gonna be bad. This thing is awesome, and then like it was the most jabroniest piece of equipment you could possibly throw on Nintendo.
Stuffed your hand into the ass of the worst peripheral ever
It was
created.
no good. But as a kid, oh my God, I had one friend who had it. One friend. And I had to get over to his house so I could at least say I put it on. And you put it on, and it's like, you can't play with this damn thing. It's
No.
it's like some kind of sonar echo thing that it uses instead of.
I think it's the same kind of light sensing technology.
No, it's not. It's not light. It's sound. So you have these speakers that are on the TV, and then you have these two little sound sensors that are on the glove, and it only at least these speaker things pick up the sound that's coming out of the glove, and that's how it knows where it's at in conjunction with it. And
Yeah,
it was
it was a bad
horrible.
idea.
It was horrible. It was the worst piece of peripheral equipment you could possibly get, but you got to give them kudos for their marketing on that damn thing.
Yeah, I think they knew that they had a real stinker before it even got out.
Oh
But they're
my
like, man, we're committed. But you could put Mario on cereal and sell the shit out of some cereal.
Well, you could.
Yeah.
At that point, you could, yeah. But man, that movie, I still to this day remember the Super Mario Brothers 3 screenshots from that thing
Yes.
before the game had even come out. Was like, oh wow, that's
Talk
phenomenal.
about an advertising engine.
It was one big commercial.
Yeah.
It was from beginning to end. It was
Yeah.
one big Nintendo commercial, and even to this day, it's one of those. I'll still watch it. I'll laugh at it. It's not like a Garbage Pail movie to me.
You'll watch that. You won't even look at
I'll
Garbage
watch The
Pail
Wizard
Kids.
before I'll watch the Garbage Pail Kids, just because of the sheer nostalgia feel of everything Nintendo in the mid '80s.
And it was, of course, some cockamamie plot where children can get across the country, very easily and not get like
throw
picked
your
up
beliefs
and
out the window.
human trafficked or whatever's going to
Yeah.
happen to them.
Oh yeah, the plot was I need to get my little autistic brother to the video game competition so he can win, and that's it.
What was it like? If he wins, we get $50,000. Then she'll be my girlfriend. Like something like that, right?
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, on a side note, I did recently watch a movie called 8-Bit Christmas.
I haven't seen that yet.
There is a sequence in that movie that is just lifted right from The Wizard with
Is
the
it
Power
really?
Glove. Yeah,
Oh,
it was. It was.
I
Cute.
gotta
It was
see it.
okay.
I've got to see it.
It's not a total waste of time. It was cute. But yeah, the Wizard.
That one would not have even made
Is
my
it-
list. I'm so glad you
Yeah,
blike
is
that
it
up.
a
Yeah, when I was looking at his list, I was the one I was like, I
Is it
didn't
a good
expect that
movie?
one to...
Not particularly great movie, but at least it stitched an advertisement together in a
One
fashion
scene
that got
after
you
another.
to the Super Mario 3 reveal, which is what that movie was all about.
Yep.
And I think that was actually reasonably successful in the theater.
I remember. I mean, as successful as little kids would know. I know it was talked about. If other friends of mine would see it, we went and saw it. We talked about it. Of course, we all wanted the Power Glove. We all wanted the games afterward. I'm happy to say I own a Power Glove. I still
You do.
have
It's-
one. I
yeah.
have one. I'll never use it. I've never hooked it up, but I have one.
Well, you know what really got me I remember seeing the advertisements on TV for the Power Glove, and they're playing Mike Tyson's Punch Out with
Yeah.
the Power Glove, right?
Yeah. It looked cool.
Yeah, but it only has functionality on one hand.
Yeah.
Yep.
How do you do your right punches?
No, you don't.
Exactly.
You don't.
And I saw that and I'm like, well, wouldn't you need two Power Gloves to
Can you
play
imagine
Tyson's
hooking out
Punch
a
Out?
right and a left Power Glove, just like whack,
And then
and
Like
then
the-
hook up
like the Wii's
and then
nunchuck.
hook up. What was the red the VR one that they called? What was that called?
Virtual Boy.
Virtual Boy. Hook up the Virtual Boy with your Power Gloves on each hand.
Yeah.
You fall down the stairs.
Playing your Game Boy?
strapped to your
Yeah, I mean,
chest.
even from that point, I was thinking there's no possible way that glove can give you the twitch-based response that a directional pad gives you.
Nah.
And seeing Tyson's Punch Out played with one, what do you play with another controller, and then how do you block? How do you move around?
I don't know. I only played with it once, like in real life at my friend's house, and I don't remember being
No,
impressed
and
with
the
it.
answer is that you plug it in and Glass Joe whips your ass. The first guy in Punch Out.
How do you punch with this thing?
Like that would break the game because he's so easy. He's not programmed to win.
The game just goes. You can't play this anymore. This is a splash screen says
Glass
no.
Joe wins? Question mark.
How the hell?
That screen wasn't even programmed into the game. You shouldn't be able to do that. How did you lose?
Nintendo self-destructing. You suck too much. Yeah.
Your Nintendo starts to smoke and burn out. Oh
So-
gosh, that was a good one. Good one.
How about the Chipmunk Adventure?
What?
Love that movie.
That was a. Chipmunks have been around way for a long
The Chipmunk
time.
Adventure. It's a full animation. It was done by people that Disney let go.
Right, but it wasn't from a toy line, was it?
Chipmunks had toys in the 80s. They had, yeah,
But they were,
did.
but they were records and cartoons before they were toys.
Records and cartoons cartoons and records in the 70s. The cartoon series in the 80s ran like 65 episodes, and it did have. I would love to get one. There's a van that converts into a stage, and you had these figures with very limited articulation that did feature cloth goods for the shirts.
Really?
Trust me, yeah. Chipmunks
So-
came back in the 80s, And
Well,
they
I,
thought they
I
could-
remember watching the Chipmunks cartoon. I do
Yeah.
remember that. It was a
And,
Saturday morning cartoon.
Ross Bagdasarian, the guy who's behind all of it, Disney was laying people off because they had just had some issues with the Black Cauldron, and
great
like
movie.
the
That was a
animation
good
for
movie.
Disney really kind of tanked, and their,
That's too
their
bad. That
live
was a good
movies
movie.
like Dragon Slayer and Black Hole were not critical successes either.
To
So-
me, they are.
They're cool, but
I
like
love
it,
those movies.
it wasn't money making. So the guy that did the Chipmunks grabbed up all of these animators from Disney, and they did a full animation Chipmunk adventure. And as the plot goes, the Chipmunks and the Chipettes are kind of lured into this plot by these two rich people who are trying to smuggle their diamonds out of a country. The police had just cracked down, so they had all of these diamonds, and they hid them in Chipmunk and Chipette dolls, and they had to make drops with these dolls, and it was like a race around the world in hot air balloons. I have it if you want to see it. It's great.
You're sparking a memory.
Yeah.
I know I've seen this movie. I just
Yeah,
don't
and it
remember
features
what the
people
plot
smoking. Like you don't see that in cartoons
was. Wow.
these days.
No, I'm gonna have to go back and check it out. I will check it out after this. I know I've seen it. I used to, like I said, I used to watch the cartoon on Saturday morning.
Mhm.
I always wanted. I never got one of the stuffed Alvin chipmunk.
Yeah.
I always wanted one. I know they had one from available during the '80s because of the cartoon.
Yeah.
Which I wanted one, and he's not the only one that I wanted a stuffed Alf. I even wanted a Cabbage Patch Kid. I mean, I was okay with things like that. I mean, not every girl toy was specifically girl toy-ish, right? So,
Same with guy toys.
well, yeah. I
Anybody.
mean,
Oh no, that's fine if they want to play with He-Man. That's fine.
well, yeah. But
only He-Man.
but I'm not sure if I would have counted that one, but that's cool.
But,
I mean, it's-
80s cartoon, it gained popularity. It was in full syndication, and they looked at that and thought, okay, we can make money off of this. They had toys and figures. You look it up, start looking it up on eBay, you'll find them. I want to have some. I'd like to have a set of them. I think it'd be really cool because I did watch the cartoon too. But I knew that would be a very obscure one.
That's
that we
one I
didn't
would not
consider.
have even considered.
And again, I don't think that movie was a big money maker.
Well, were cartoon movies
no
ever big money? I mean, unless it was Disney. Unless it was Disney.
I mean, it was
Yeah.
always a Disney thing that when that released, it made big money.
Right, like
so,
the Rescuers and these other ones always made big money in the '80s. But I don't remember. I don't think GI Joe, Transformers, any of those other Saturday morning type ones made money.
story-wise,
Just didn't have the
it's-
marketing, really.
yeah, as insane as the story is, like getting these chipmunk children to go across the world in hot air balloons delivering goods. Okay, but at least it was
That's totally
start to
believable,
finish,
Steve.
and they had.
Oh
they
yeah, it
had-
happens every day.
If we're talking chipmunks, the story can go anywhere.
I'd rather watch that than Friends. Those are a bunch of people you just hate.
Yeah.
Anyways, good musical numbers. Original musical numbers for it. It wasn't just like there was Wooly Bully, but they had some actual written for the movie musical score, and the animation was very good.
It was
for
fluid. I
its
remember
time.
it being
Yeah.
fluid.
Yeah,
I
so-
did like their cover songs though that they would sing. I remember them singing.
Oh yeah, and I love the Chipmunk Christmas. That I didn't watch it this year, but I normally that's one of them that I
Yeah, the
get in.
Chipmunk song is a big Christmas one.
Okay,
That's
so
another good one. Good job.
let's swivel and go to Transformers the movie because we were
Yeah,
kind of
that's-
talking GI Joe and Transformers.
Yeah,
there.
there's that one and the other one that are the elephants in the room for good toy crossovers. So for Transformers specifically, that one is a very good film. I know you said its plot is a little bit kind of thin compared to GI Joe,
well,
but but let's look at the voice actors that we brought into this movie.
oh,
That we knew that
top-notch.
was going to be.
Yeah.
They had this feeling that this movie was going to be big. We had Leonard Nimoy, we had Orson Welles, we had Judd Nelson. I mean,
Robert Stack,
Robert
John
Stack.
yeah,
and then we brought.
really fast and talks about the micro machines.
Oh yes, I know. I loved him as Blur, but then we also brought in our Peter Cullens and our Frank Welkers and all these the
Neil
normal
Ross
ones,
and all the guys that are
right? So that had everything that you wanted in a movie that you were watching every day as a cartoon and every day playing with the toys as well. So and they had names or voices, I should say, that were recognizable.
Yeah, most definitely. Yep.
So, and to have Orson Welles come in and play Unicron and Leonard Nimoy come in and play Galvatron was just mind-blowing. Very good. And the animation, I remember, also being very fluid, very much
Yeah.
better than the
A few little
standard.
mistakes, but I mean, just like incredible.
Yeah, just overall, it was better drawn and better animated, I think, than the day-to-day ones.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, full animation by Toei.
But
Ooh.
let's
They're just insane.
the fight between Prime and Megatron at the beginning of the film, or closer to the beginning of the film, is just that still lives in my that lives rent free in my head. I love that fight. The things he says, everything iconic that Optimus Prime has ever said is said within that moment.
Yeah, you can take 3 minutes of that movie, and that absolutely defines that character and why he is so beloved.
Yep.
Why he is a moral compass for many of us that were, children of the 80s and maybe, in my case, no real father figure around, deciding what is good and right in people.
Absolutely.
And from start to finish, as soon as he touches down in the wrecked Autobot City, you know exactly what that character is about. And, I mean, it's just completely telling in 3 minutes of animation.
Yep. I just remember, you got the touch!
Oh, man.
And then I'm like,
that
oh
song.
man, Megatron's gonna die. Megatron's gonna die.
And, I mean, you have that, like...
Optimus Prime is gonna kick some ass.
They're playing some rock music. Bad guys gonna lose.
driving down that like trench thing towards
Yeah.
the city, and you got all these Decepticons going in there trying to pick off the survivors, and
He's mowing them down.
there is like one Optimus Prime image. It's when he transforms, jets up, and he has that knee forward and the rifle, and I mean it's such an iconic thing. I have my toys posed that way. And you see that in pictures, and it's in DeviantArt. Everybody's done that. That one scene where the knee is forward, the rifle is coming to bear, and I mean you just see how powerful and badass Optimus Prime is.
Yes.
And he doesn't want to. He does not want to kill.
No.
He has to, and he has to stop Megatron
No
at
matter
any
the cost.
Yep. And even at the cost of his own life, he will do nothing to hurt somebody else. So I mean, everything good about Optimus Prime happens in like 3 minutes, right?
I know. But when you see his side get pierced, and he starts glowing, and then you see Megatron shooting him, die. It's like,
And he
oh
won't
my
go
god,
down.
and he won't go down, dude.
Yep.
It's one of my most favorite fight scenes in
And then-
any movie.
And then, after being shot in the face, in the wound, in the chest, he still has enough juice to punch Megatron so hard that he is crippled.
Yes,
There is no repairing or coming back from that. He's on death's door from a punch.
I know.
A double, good double sledge to the chest and
I
face.
still fight.
And he
Yeah, but you got bitch slapped.
By a dead man walking.
stabbed, slashed, and shot this guy, and he punched you so hard that you're dead.
Yeah.
And you get it saved because they needed to make you into a new toy. So I mean, the movie, it really
Well, and then they replaced in the film. They tried to replace Optimus with Ultra Magnus, which let's give Ultra Magnus.
They're both very noble.
They are.
The colors of similar colors and everything.
I want to give credit where credit is due. Ultra Magnus is a good character. He realized he could not replace Optimus Prime. He knew from the beginning, I can't do this. I can't be you, right? And he knew that he was like, well, but there's nobody else right now. I have to hold on to this. And it was one of the burdens of leadership being thrust upon somebody rather than somebody who was like, I'll do it. He didn't want that. And so Ultra Magnus is one of those great characters, I think, that came out of this movie.
Me too. I love his character, loyal soldier. I mean, probably the absolute best at what he does, realizing it is not his place to be the head of the table.
Yeah.
And then, season 3 was mostly Hot Rod struggling to come to grips with being a leader, too.
Yeah.
But the Matrix just liked him better, and they had a different toy,
Well, movie. But Ultra Magnus, though, I think, and I mean, every kid did it when they were growing up. Ooh, White Prime, right?
Yeah.
White Prime.
Red Prime's discontinued. I can get a White Prime now.
Yep. But as a toy, though, and the toys the Transformers that came out of Transformers the movies were also still just top notch. Springer, Blur, Cup, the old guy, the salty Sea Story guy.
They were sort of starting to get into the toys where the American company, where Hasbro was designing the characters, and we were making new ones.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that they lacked some of the coolness of the other original Transformers toys that came out, but good designs and good characters.
Oh no, I mean there's definitely some distinctions between, and there's a definite line between the Transformers, right? And even though they're still considered Generation 1, there is definitely a line between the original Diaclone type of Transformers versus the Transformers that came out after the movie, and that was because they said that they had exhausted their library of Takara Tomy toys at the time, and they needed new ones.
Yeah, they even went to Takatoku and stole the VF-1S from Robotech. So I mean,
but the one thing that I don't, and this goes into their overestimation of what they thought was going to be good for the movie, was they killed some of my favorite Transformers in this movie.
Yeah,
they killed Ratchet. They killed Hound. I mean, they killed some of the good ones, and their only reasoning for this was, well, we need to make room for these new Transformers.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I think that was a big misstep.
It was.
That was a very Michael Bay type of a decision-making to make. I mean, we had watched in these cartoons, yes, the characters would be injured if they were shot by Megatron or Starscream.
But they came back. They always came back.
They could, or, I mean, some toys just didn't make it further, tracks in, half dozen episodes or something.
They showed up once or twice.
It doesn't really matter if they get killed. They just don't show up anymore, and then the new toys show up in the new episodes.
But to watch them die, that's different.
My major issue is that those are not just robots.
Mm-hmm.
Those are people. They live, they care, they have emotions, they're sentient beings. Just because they're in a robot shell, they're people, they're characters. And we grew up with these characters. So, I mean, this would be like going into G.I. Joe the movie and watching all of these Joes get killed on screen because
they want to make room
because they want to, the 80s, because Big Lob needed a figure, okay? Or Chuckles.
Who doesn't talk? How are you going to cast that one?
The voice actors on strike. Anyways.
Cast Snake Eyes.
So... It was a big mistake because we fell in love with these characters. Mm-hmm. Just like Michael Bay's movies being character-less in favor of just big, junky-looking alien insects that rip each other's arms and faces.
Well, not even just character-less, character-wrong in some points. Yeah. They even gave them the wrong attributes.
Yeah, he can't do characters. Michael Bay can only do cartoon people.
No.
One shot. But Transformers the movie went in, and rather than... having a battle and these guys are disappearing or getting hurt. Mm-hmm. I mean, we really saw the life leave the eyes of these characters that we fell in love with, and that was horrifying.
Oh my gosh!
As a child,
I even felt bad for Starscream.
Oh yeah!
When he got annihilated and turned to dust, I was like, no,
no. So in my opinion, that was one of the biggest miscalculations. They could show characters being shot, and if they wanted to show bits and pieces flying off of them, or
have Hound lose an arm and try to react. You know what I'm saying?
They can
don't kill these guys.
They can illustrate horrors of war, but to come in and literally extinguish life in front of you, that was their miscalculation. I think
when you saw the smoke come out of Prowl, when he was like, "Oh, he's dead. There's no denying it."
And Brawn,
he killed that guy.
Brawn gets shot in the shoulder, but it blows his back off.
Yeah, And Ironhide, whose last breath is trying to grab a hold of Megatron's leg, and he goes, "Such heroics."
Yeah, and then canoes his head.
And just blows his head off. What the just happened? What did I just see?
So,
a kid's movie.
And I don't mind. When they crunch the Insecticons up trying to get into the city, I don't mind seeing that. But I think for a child of that time, having such stark violence and disregard for... They're robots, but they're people.
Exactly.
I get Hasbro really wanted to just amp it up, and give us the coolest and best thing they could do, but you really didn't have to do the characters like that. I mean, you could have shown characters falling to the ground or getting shot. You did enough with Optimus Prime sacrificing himself, and I mean, Ultra Magnus blown into pieces. I would kind of get that. That's kind of violent. Mm-hmm. Better than watching him be drawn and quartered like the original art was going to do. But
goodness.
I think that was a miscalculation. And
it was a big one.
My issue with that movie is that there was too much focus in switching old guard to new, and you lost a third of the movie just to get rid of your old toys. Mm-hmm. So you had this Unicron, And for 20 minutes, there's nothing in there that's being ready for Unicron or knowing anything about it. You see it wreck one planet, and then they wipe out all of your toys that you've collected, and then the new ones come. But there's not... For me, that plot kind of jumps around too much there.
Yep, I hear you.
Do I love the movie? Yes. Will I watch it again? Most definitely. And it's a huge part of my childhood, and so much that's good about it. But seeing that disregard was probably the biggest misstep that they did in the movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, too many people, including Prime, got killed in that movie.
Yeah,
and it wasn't... And I once you find out what the reason is, it's like, that's not a good enough reason.
Yeah.
You did not have a good reason to do this.
At least with G.I. Joe, when Duke takes his mortal injury, it's for a reason.
Yeah.
There's growth for a character. They just needed to thin the Transformers out. Mm-hmm. So that's why I like the way that G.I. Joe handles it better than the way Transformers handles it. But
G.I. Joe is like a normal army, right? You have new troops coming in, you're recruiting them, you're doing whatever. You don't have to kill your old ones.
Alpine, Gung-Ho, and Bazooka get their butts whipped trying to protect...
I love the little scene in the beginning where Nemesis Enforcer rips through the havoc underneath and pulls Snowjob out of the throws him on the ground.
Got you now, you slippery creep!
Oh man, he just manhandled Snowjob like he was nothing.
And Duke gets shot in the arm, and Falcon gets rifle butted in the mouth, and he bleeds.
Yeah,
and there is blood, but the way that it's handled is just better.
Yeah,
so
I agree. It was a better flowing, better movie altogether. But like I said, I still love them both equally, kind of. So, but there's the biggest one that is on my list, and I know it's on your list, and it's my guiltiest pleasure movie of all time.
Okay.
Masters of the Universe.
Yep, that was next on the list.
Masters of the Universe was okay, and I'm not the only kid of the '80s who thought this. When you're walking into the theater and you're like, He-Man, yes, oh yes, and then Dolph Lundgren, you're like, oh, that's the guy that beat up Rocky, yeah, and then you see He-Man and you're like, that's not He-Man, and then you see Man-at-Arms and go, that's not Man-at-Arms. But Skeletor was kind of good. But as a kid, though, you those changes kind of hit you right in the face because you're already used to what your characters look like. You're already used to what they sound like, how they act, everything. So this was a complete breakdown and rebuild of the characters of Masters of the Universe. And once you got past that initial shock of the characters being different... No, as a kid, I loved it. And to this day, I still love it. It's bad for a whole number of reasons, but it's good for a whole number of reasons. And okay.
So no matter the Star Wars parallels, it's not Star Wars.
It's not.
Okay. You don't have the people getting along the way Star Wars did. You don't have a master director behind the helm of the movie. You don't have the budget.
Not even close.
You have a toy company that wants this movie made, and you have Golan Globus, who are the biggest crooks ever, and behind all of the worst 80s, the best bad 80s sci-fi movies ever. And then you have budget running out, and you have too many toys on the shelf and not being able to sell through the surplus. And this all affected the outcome of the movie. Now, I'm going to say, when I saw the advertisement for the movie, I was in. Mm-hmm. Now, I did love He-Man as a kid. That was my second after Star Wars. I was like Darth Who when He-Man came into my life.
Yep.
I loved He-Man, but if you are trying to take barbarian sci-fi and make a movie out of it, it has to be a little bit more sophisticated than just the way that Masters of the Universe was. Mm-hmm. Masters had the disadvantage of being the first cartoon to sell toys that you could put on TV, and the restrictions put on there and the types of violence it could show. Plus, Filmation was an American animation studio, and it was expensive, and they rotoscoped and they reused and scrimped and saved.
Oh,
and
yeah,
had a voice cast
they flipped scenes.
They had a voice cast of like 4.
Yeah.
So they did what they could. When I saw the first commercial for Masters, I'm in. Mm-hmm. That looked awesome. I kind of wish some of the elements had crossed over, but you couldn't really do Orko very well. It would be some Jim Henson-y type of puppet.
But they gave us Gwildor. Not a
great
Orko
with
replacement.
with the budget that
Not
they
a
had,
good
no
replacement.
Battle Cat, no Battle Cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, what? I know.
But is Blade not one of the coolest Masters designs
Oh,
out there?
yeah, heck yeah.
I liked Beastman's upgrade that he, like this sort of like bestial guy with this cool armor.
What was his name? The lizard
Sarad.
Sarad, yeah, that dude was cool, until he got melted.
Yeah, and I mean, then you had Garth Algar from Wayne's World as Bat guy.
There are people in this movie.
Skeletor!
There are people in this movie that I cannot stand. Gwildor and that dude are the top of the list. I do not like them. I also don't like Courtney Cox's acting in this movie. Not that I like her anyway, but I'm just saying.
She was in it.
I've forgotten so much of this movie.
Yeah, but I still love this movie, and it's
I
one
do
of those
too.
reasons why I can't explain to you why I like this movie.
The sort
I
of
just
darker
do.
look of the movie. I like the setting.
Mm-hmm.
That now He-Man and the Masters are basically these rebels fighting against Skeletor, who found a way to get into Grayskull and imprison the sorceress. The toy designs, there's some translation that doesn't work going to movies. Like X-Men in bright blue and yellow doesn't work in 2001 or whatever when that movie came out. They did some kind of cool stuff later on down the road with dark blue and muted yellow. But,
Yeah.
For the same reason, the movie was super ambitious. I thought Dolph Lundgren looked badass as He-Man, and that movie has probably one of the most beautiful movie swords ever crafted. Like far
I
and
absolutely agree.
way cooler than the original He-Man sword, in my opinion. Taking those notes from Conan the Barbarian's Atlantean sword with the brass highlights and the big long blade.
It was a cool sword. It was a very cool sword.
Love Masters of the Universe, but that sword just got it right.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you can't really have He-Man lifting buildings or like using his strength to fuse a chain back together.
This is the most powerful man in the universe. I want him to lift a mountain.
In context of the movie, as a rebel and being a desperate situation, it made more sense to me that He-Man would just be this really badass warrior freedom fighter guy.
No, it's cool. Like I said, they had to break down Masters of the Universe and rebuild it from the ground up in order to make this movie. They had to rethink what the characters were, how they were in relation to each other when they were writing this story. And did they get some of it right? Yeah. Did they get some of it wrong?
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
But it was a good try. I honestly think it was a really good try, and I do like how some of the characters turned out. I like the look of Dolph Lundgren as He-Man. I like the Man-at-Arms. That dude looked like he was Man-at-Arms. Like he could do some
I
stuff.
like the colors, the blue and the shades of blue for the heroes.
Yeah.
Skeletor had a pretty cool design. I mean, for the time, for not being able to make just a suspended skull and a hood.
Yeah.
And it was
don't tell me that Frank Langella did not nail that role.
Yeah.
The dude nailed that role.
Oh.
He sold it. He owned it.
And I've heard that later on down the road, that's one of his favorite things he's ever done.
Oh man, live action
the
Skeletor.
best part of that movie.
Yeah.
Live action Skeletor was what made that movie.
Yeah.
His villain monologues were the best.
Oh.
I mean, like, you have Raul Julia as M. Bison from Street Fighter, and he had some corny shit that he said, but at one point, I've said it before, my favorite part is Skeletor's going, like, he's gaining the power of the universe, and he just keeps going.
He does.
On and on, and Eva Lynn gets this look on her face. Of what consequence are you to me now? These people, they're nothing. The universe is power. Pure. Unstoppable power. And his goons are like, what the crap did we just get into here? I am that power.
Oh.
You will kneel.
I like I do like when He-Man and Skeletor are finally up. You know, they're up on the throne pedestal and they're getting ready to fight. And I like how he just goes, "Let this be our final battle."
The musical score I thought was pretty good for the movie.
Yeah,
and that
I liked
swell and the build up for when He-Man finally swings across and Skeletor's trying to hit him with that yellow lightning stuff and he can't grab the sword and it's do-do-do-do,
Yep.
and he reaches and he finally has the "I have the power" moment. That gives me goosebumps just thinking about it.
I know it does.
I love it.
Like I said, there's plenty to pick apart in that movie, but there's still plenty to love, and I do like that movie. And speaking of soundtrack, one of the songs on that soundtrack, "Good Journey," is one of my most favorite instrumental songs of all time. I listen to it constantly. I do love that song, and so it was a good soundtrack. And
oh, I have the power.
And a lot of times I base a lot of my live action movies on not just the acting and the hero, but the soundtrack that flows along with it. And Masters of the Universe had a damn good soundtrack.
Hey, that guy he stepped up and made it work.
He did. So that's what I'm saying. That there's a lot of things you can pick apart in this movie to be like, well, this movie was no good, but there is so much more in it when you really look.
It's still enjoyable for me to this.
It is. It is really good. And
highest quality acting, not so much, and a lot changed, but it's one of my very favorites.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely love that. And when we're talking about toy lines that Hollywood thought was going to make them money on the silver screen and being ambitious, Masters of the Universe is top of the list.
Yeah.
It's the biggest one,
Just
at least
tragic
in my opinion.
Partnership.
Yes,
wrong
exactly.
movie partners.
Exactly. But it's still top of the list for me when we're talking about toy lines that made the jump to the
Me
big
too.
screen.
But the one that's next on the list, the last on the list, we'll come back and say our favorites, but I saved this one for last on purpose, and it technically isn't an 80s movie, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh!
Based on an 80s toy line.
I love this movie!
It is. And I'm including it because they went to work on it immediately to make the movie probably around 88.
Yeah. No, it's an
it
80s
was
movie,
coming.
even though it was 90.
And it's an 80s product and could very well be probably the best 80s movie.
Screen adaptation of something that came from a toy or a cartoon was this movie. And I'm so glad you saved this one for last because it is faithful.
Well, that's all the time we have for today, folks.
No, we got to talk about
We just hit the 1 hour 21 minutes, and that's our budget.
No, we have a budget? Why didn't I know about this? No.
It's out of your pocket.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles live action. So many good things were in this movie. The Jim Henson puppeteering that went into these guys to bring them alive. Just the first few minutes alone, when you're seeing these guys live action for the first time, and we're in the lair, and we're seeing them walk in, and you see the close-up of Raphael, and then you see the close-up of Splinter, and you're just beside yourself with this, holy shit moment, because you're like, this is wow.
They did it
Dude,
right.
This ain't no like Elmo with a hand in his butt.
No, these guys are walking,
serious,
talking, and kicking butt, and they are doing it perfectly. And it's dark, right? It's a dark movie.
Just enough.
There's no highlights. There's no flamboyant colors. Not like the cartoon, right? Like very bright and energetic. No,
the palette is very muted.
It's very dark. We're in the shadows. We're in the dirt. We're gritty. We're getting sweaty, and it's just it's every bit. It's my favorite version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Me too.
I love them as cartoons. I love the toys, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1990, that is where it's at for me. That is the top of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles pyramid right there. Those guys. And what I would love, and I think I've talked to you about this, Lincoln, a few times, is we are at the point in our technology where we can bring these 90s turtles back. And they don't have to be suits of foam anymore. You can make them look exactly like they were, CGI, and bring them bad boys back.
Yep. And even smooth out a little of the rough spots, like certain parts of the shells bending or something.
Or something like that. But
or
either
seeing
way,
the eyes clearly under the mask.
Well, but I still take
there.
all of those over anything else,
Yeah.
because this movie was good. It was really, really good.
Extremely well written. The voice acting, top notch, 100%. Enough corniness and goofiness of the cartoons, enough darkness of the comic books. And
Splinter was an actual good bad guy, or not Splinter. Shredder was an actual good bad guy. I liked
Shredder,
him.
He wasn't just like Cobra Commander who wakes up and decides to be evil. the Shredder was a crime lord.
Yeah,
and
his voice was perfect.
Yeah, the whole reason that he's going after the turtles is because they're interfering in his business, not because He's got some alien brain partner. He didn't have to have mutated henchmen or anything with him.
Mm-mm.
He's just a crime boss. And it as wacky and crazy as the whole concept is, I think taking that grounded approach really was the best way to handle
Absolutely.
it. And his suit was dumb. You know,
I liked it. I liked it.
The shiny stuff on there, like the shimmery red jumpsuit.
Yeah.
I would have preferred something else, but overall, I'm Casey Jones. Nobody even knows Elias Koteas. They only know that guy as Casey Jones.
He nailed that code. That he's
And-
Casey Jones. I didn't. April, I think, is the only one that I kind of have a little bit of an issue with in the movie, only because it's not who I thought April really was.
Yeah.
I think of all the characters in that movie, that's the one that kind of missed the mark a little bit.
And I guess she was notoriously difficult to work with as well. But-
Besides that, I think that version of April is not quite the version of April that I had in mind. But then again, neither is Megan Fox. Please just don't ever cast Megan Fox as April O'Neil again. Just don't.
But you got to admit, she did do her best to act around
she-
puppets and everything else. She did a great job. And, you know,
Yeah.
there were great lines like, I get it. You're a claustrophobic. What, you want
I've never
fist-
even looked at
you
another
want a fist
guy.
in the mouth? I never even looked at another guy. Yeah.
No, I think, okay, so when we're talking about that, let's go down the line real quick with The Secret of the Ooze, which is not as good
Oh,
as the first
everything
one.
wrong. That's like the studio deciding that it had to be just like the cartoons and making
Yeah.
it like a really bright.
Yeah,
joke.
they missed the mark on that one.
Yeah.
They redid Donatello, which I think was a mistake. I don't like how Donatello turned out in that one at all.
Michelangelo didn't even use nunchucks, did he? In the second movie?
I feel like there was something
he
about
used
he
combat
couldn't
cold
use
cuts in the beginning.
and a yo-yo.
But I don't know. But what I was going to say for that one was I think that April, and people will disagree with me probably, and you may too. I felt like that April was a little bit more closer to the mark of April O'Neil as I thought, because she did more newscasting, she did more investigative journalism, she did more of these things that I thought April should do, rather than just be this,
Yeah.
thing that the turtles.
How about how the
can
turtles
take.
interact? In the cartoons, they're not very conflicted.
Mm-mm.
In that movie, they seemed like brothers who loved each other.
Oh yeah.
But they had personality conflicts, and you had, Batman not wanting to get along with the Justice League very well. And,
Yeah.
the growth of the characters by the time you get to the end of the movie, very good. I mean, they packed a lot into there for this little kids movie that New Line Cinema took a risk on bringing to life. And that movie made so much frickin' money. And I think I watched it twice in the theaters when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I wore the VHS out.
I still have my original VHS. I still have it. I love this movie. I love it. I like you're like with Transformers. I'll buy the version of that. I have it on DVD. I have it on Blu-ray. I love this movie. So it's phenomenal. And like I said, I would love to see it come back in a CGI kind of see.
I don't think that there's an '80s kid that saw that doesn't love that movie.
Yeah, I would agree.
For the people that argue about He-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Or the people that had issues with G.I. Joe. That's almost like a unified fandom saying that Turtles 1990 was a badass movie. 'Cause
Oh,
it is.
yeah,
Yep.
it was. It absolutely was. And like I said, when I think of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I love the cartoon. I love
Yeah,
it.
me too. I mean, that's what started me down the road.
Absolutely. But when I have this definitive image of a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle in my head, it's those guys.
Yeah.
It's those guys.
Yeah, I mean, it did everything right, and of course they, big misstep. It was exactly what happened with Batman.
Yeah.
Second one was too dark. The first one was dark too, but Batman
But
Returns
it got
too
the
dark.
balance right.
And then the studio's like, well, we want to get this to kids more, so why don't we put a bunch of neon in there? And
then
you had that's another discussion for another time. But I mean,
you know what killed it for me for the second one? Toka and Razor.
it was just too different for me from the very beginning. I think
They looked like puppets. They
Yeah.
looked like something that was thrown together in a craft store or something like that. They did not look anything like the Turtles
No.
did or how they moved or anything like that. I did not like them.
and the
I didn't like-
designs are intentional. I mean, they were supposed to be that way. Was it Henson's shop again?
Yeah, it was, but I think that they had a little bit more input from the studios
They
and
looked
things
like
like
too
that.
cartoony and goofy.
Yeah.
It didn't look dark and gritty enough.
Yeah, no, not even the second one does not even hold a candle to the first one.
No,
and the third one we don't even talk about.
Yeah, not to mention Super Shredder's ridiculous. Not to mention Vanilla Ice is ridiculous. The movie as a whole, I think I made my dad take me to see that, and he obviously didn't get it. But I came out of the movie not really being all that happy with it, and this would have been like 1992 or something
Or
like
three
that.
or something.
Yeah, 92 or 93. 90, yeah, probably about 92.
But we talk about a movie that hit the mark so perfectly in the first one, and then just completely dropped the ball on the second one.
Oh yeah, without a
Like
shadow of a
how
doubt.
how could that happen? You had the perfect formula right there. Carry that over into a second movie with an even darker kind of plot, and people would have been on board with that 100%. You know?
Yeah, it worked so well because it was lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
The same way what they did in that movie is the same thing that worked so well when they got the right voice actors together for G.I. Joe and Transformers and
Yeah.
that. It was something for everybody. And the kids maybe getting a little bit older who were on their way out for action figures, getting behind that movie and watching it and being into it. So great movie. It definitely gets my vote for best 80s toy franchise movie that's out
I
there,
think
like, far
I think
and
I'm
away.
gonna have to agree with you. I as much as I do like the Masters of the Universe, and the reason why I didn't even think of Teenage Mutant because it was released in 1990. But I have to agree with you.
It sort of deserves.
It
to be
has
lumped
its
in
roots.
because
It
was
has
an
its beginnings
80s
right
toy
there.
property.
It's an honorary
that-
80s
Yeah.
movie.
So
That had they been a few months earlier, it would have
Yep.
been okay on the list. And it was totally what they were thinking with Masters,
Yeah.
and what they were thinking with all the other ones when they tried to put these big movies out there. Probably the best critical success of all of them.
Yep.
I didn't bring up anything like Superman or Batman, even though we had
right.
Super Friends TV show, and you had Superpowers.
Yeah.
Those were never like toy line first, driven
Right.
into sort of like
Exactly.
movie sorts of things.
Right.
But
And when you're talking about things like that, it just seems like because of the medium that it was, comic books and things like that, it just made sense that it would become a movie eventually. Right.
yeah,
like,
at some
it was-
point, because Batman was great too in a lot of the ways that Turtles is great. But as
The
far as
'89
like,
Batman was
yeah,
still my favorite Batman.
Yep.
Even to this day, still my favorite Batman.
Best one live action for me. I still think the animated.
Oh,
Phantasm.
well, animated good.
Kevin Conroy will always be the
yeah,
Batman.
Mask of the Phantasm to me is the best movie Batman that's ever been put out.
Live action Batman though,
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton.
there. Yeah,
Oh! Take the knife out of my back.
And the channel is now over.
We're done.
We're deleting the profile.
I love Keaton. I love that we may be seeing some like Dark Knight Returns style
Yeah.
Batman in these upcoming movies. It
Yeah.
really tickles me.
I'm anxious for that one to see how that turns out, how they do it. I hope they don't
Anyhow,
kill it.
anything we forgot?
Oh man,
So that's pretty comprehensive. I think
it
we
is.
got
That's a good
we got
list.
the most of them.
we got some pretty good ones. I mean, I'm sure there are, like you said, some Rainbow Bright, maybe some Cabbage Patch ones. I think there was a Cabbage Patch movie, cartoon that was released. I don't know. I don't know if it was in the theaters though.
Because I think that by the time Transformers the movie put a big scare into Hasbro, who was like the proprietor of almost all like massively successful franchises. I think they're a little bit worried about the Rainbow Bright and the Strawberry Shortcake and the Care Bears.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say. I can't remember if those ones actually did have theatrical.
And I
releases or
don't
not.
think that Secret of the Sword was theatrical. It might have been the He-Man and She-Ra
I
Secret
think
of the
it
Sword.
was.
If it was,
But it was a
very
short
limited,
run.
And
It was
it
a
was
very-
really that's fairly unremarkable as a movie. You just meet She-Ra.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
And I like that one a little bit more than I like the He-Man and She-Ra Christmas special. that was a horrible movie.
Did something
I don't,
good.
I want to be evil. What is this I'm feeling?
All right. So I guess the last thing to say is comments, thoughts. What did we miss?
Yep.
Let us know. Let us know, and we'll debate you.
Yeah. I think we hit it. I think we hit it pretty hard, though. I think we hit all of the good talking aspects for that.
I think
that
so too.
particular
And
topic.
we're all in agreement. Ninja Turtles probably best 80s toy movie.
I'm gonna agree
ever
with that
made.
one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, I am agreeing with that one.
All right. Well,
It was all good. I think we ran a little bit long on this one, longer than we wanted to, but it was a good topic. So once again, thanks Steve for being part of this podcast. Thanks Lincoln for being our
yes,
guest.
excellent guest star.
We'll have you on again, and we'll see you guys next time.